There you go. Look.
She must have been thinking, what's he going to say? She was always able to take her own action forward.
Make sure you send me that. Yeah.
Stamping ground, both of yours, both and also the...
Hello, everyone. Happy Sussex Sunday. Thought we'd start off with a little bit more humour at the beginning. Just some cut-out footage from the festivities for the King. They've had 70 years to practice this and they still can't get it right, which I find quite funny. But hey, the world is watching and there's pressure. So, mistakes are going to happen. But welcome to the chat, everyone. My gosh, it's only day 3. And Lord, give us strength. Oof. Should we have a prayer? A prayer for strength, please. Benjamin, and check your email. I'll send you info on Charles and William's inheritance. Oh, okay. That's interesting. I will check that. I'm so sorry if I never respond to your emails quickly because that particular email account, I don't check it often, but I need to. You like the new music? Do you know what? My license for Epidemic ran out and I can't renew it until the end of the week. So I had to pick a different song or else my videos will get demonetized. So it was by circumstance that we have a new song today. But it's a little bit more somber. That I think that dubstep isn't maybe not time appropriate. Yes, what an eventful week it's been, R.R. Carter. What an eventful week it's been. Why does the new music make me feel like I'm waiting for the elevator door to open while dancing? Yes, Hidley, 70 years and still can't get it right. The way she was jumping to get on that horse, like, wow, girl. Yeah, Andrea, I can't believe it's only been 3 days. It's just like moving so slowly. But you know what? Once again, I was walking through my town today, and it was a pretty nice chill Sunday. Everybody was out at the restaurants, out at the cafes. You were dancing to the intro music, Emerald. Fantastic. Alrighty. Welcome everybody to the chat as always. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Oh, 800 in the chat already. Thank you everyone for joining us. Let's get straight into it. Okay, before we talk about any royal news, today is at the anniversary of 9/11, and I would like to send my thoughts and prayers to everybody in New York. Unfortunately, even in America, there has been so much royal coverage. I've heard from people, and it's kind of distracted from 9/11. So my condolences for those who were lost, and my respect for all of the rescue workers with 2 legs and rescue workers with 4 legs who risked their lives, many of them lost, in the immediate events and in the years following. And in fact, many of the rescue workers, because of the air quality, are still suffering to this day with cancers, inhalation, breathing difficulties, and it's actually taken a lot to campaign to get them compensation. I think comedian Jon Stewart was part of a really big effort to get a lot of the firefighters and emergency workers compensation. So much respect to the rescue workers who put their lives at risk and ran towards the danger. It's what they're paid to do, but you never know when you're in this job, what day will be your last. And for many of them, unfortunately, that day was their last. And so my thoughts and prayers to everyone in New York and families and those who were lost. I think that there's a world before 9/11 and a world after 9/11. Dorothy Ross, I was born in Edinburgh and I live just south of it now. So Elizabeth is not far from me now. Yes, so there was a motorcade that went from Balmoral all the way to Edinburgh, and I think it was for like 6 hours or something. And they had it live streaming pretty much all day on Sky News. World Traveller, one thing I can say about the UK scenery, I enjoy the small town feel. Yes, actually, our landscape and scenery is absolutely gorgeous. We just don't have the year-round weather to enjoy it. A World Traveller, CNN was UK all day. Wow. So they didn't really have any coverage of 9/11 memorial because, to my knowledge, you usually I'm sure that there was a memorial, but usually like they read off all the names of the people that passed away, and there's all types of events that happen. So I think that's quite shameful that they didn't cover it more. The last of the 9/11 rescue dogs recently died. Oh, bless. Yeah, there's quite an interesting story about the rescue dogs. So not all of them were necessarily trained for search and rescue. They just brought in all the dogs they could, and because they weren't finding um, people who were alive, a lot of the dogs started to basically get depressed. So what the emergency workers did was they would hide themselves in the rubble, and then the dogs would find them just to like give the dogs a sense of hope. So, oh my gosh, there's poor little pooches. Mm. Well, traveler, I remember that day watch the towers fall from my rooftop. Tell you, I was in Zambia that day, and when I saw the footage, like it's almost like my brain shut down. Like I couldn't register what was going on, and I, I remember I left the because we were staying in a hotel. I kind of left the hotel room in this weird daze. It's like I'd seen something utterly horrific, but like my brain wasn't registering it, and it took me like a good few hours almost to like register what I had seen. So it's like I'd seen it, but like emotionally, I didn't react for like a good few hours after because it was like I don't know if it was like some weird defense mechanism, but it was like my brain just shut down. Like I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and I think a lot of people probably went through something like that because you just couldn't believe what you were seeing. Like there's just no way this can be real. Okay. Oh, thank you so much to Alan for the super sticker, much appreciated. Right. So on to some other things. Something a little well royal related that's a little bit more positive. Oh, this lady here, Miss Diva Hawkins, posted that she's climbing Mount Everest. Good luck with that on the 29th of September. And she's going to wear this t-shirt for her base camp photos saying, I love Meghan. I think that is absolutely amazing. Good luck to her. I actually hope to climb Everest one day, and I've been doing a lot of research on it. And apparently it takes 2 weeks just to get to base camp, and then like the whole climb all the way to the top is like 2 months because you have to ascend very, very slowly. So good luck to her with her base camp trek, and can't wait to see the I love Meghan photos from base camp. And I did tweet her and I said, if you're going to be doing any fundraisers, please do let us know, especially if they're for any charities related to Meghan. Legs, CNN has a new CEO. Oh yes, I've heard about this, and there's a lot of CNN watchers who are very mad about this, and that they're basically saying we're going to switch off from CNN and go over to like ABC or MSNBC. Whitlin, no mass. The media needs to ease up a bit. We can understand the solemnity of the occasion, but it's just a bit much. Yeah, this has been echoed quite a bit, that it is just a bit too much. April, May, I was getting up with my baby and I thought it was a movie trailer at first, then the shock. Yeah, but it literally looked like something out of a movie. There's just no, like, 2 buildings, like, going into the. I mean, how does the brain even register that? Mm. Anna, I would run out of breath climbing Mount Everest. No way I would die before I would, get there. So, you should look into a lady called Melissa Arnont, I think that's how you say her name. She was the first American woman to climb Everest without oxygen. So there are actually a handful of people that have done it without supplemental oxygen because at a certain point, like the air is just so thin when you get further and further and further up that you need supplemental oxygen. But there are some people who have done it without, and it's very, very dangerous. Like you can die, you can get brain hemorrhages. But there are people that have done it, and there are women that have done it as well. So go check that out, like Everest climbing or like high altitude climbing without O2. Like it's quite fascinating. Sharon, the Queen's funeral could have been held this weekend or even tomorrow. So ridiculous. The funeral is next Monday. Well, um, to be fair, it is very sudden. Listen, they're gonna want all the world leaders and dignitaries and probably some celebrities to really, make it a big thing. So I think part of it is that they are giving people time to make room in their calendars. Mm. Mm. Joan Commonwealth, I cannot even do the hills in Granada. No, no climbing for me. uh, all right. Moving on. I saw this tweet came up, and I hadn't actually even thought about this. Somebody posted, Beth posted, these photos were taken 25 years apart, almost to the day. Hard to believe, really. Oh wow! I'm so very glad that Harry has his beloved with him. No more will he be lonely. Meghan is his balm of comfort, support, strength, and love. Indeed. Indeed. And how she must love him must, because to go back into a viper's den full of people that don't like me and quite frankly wanted me dead, as Harry said himself. Oh, I don't know, man. No matter how much I loved a man, oh, never me. Meghan is a better woman than me because I just don't know. Oh, poor Meghan. Cian Adams, I'm praying for Meghan every day. I'll be so happy when she's back home. Me too. Me too. Michael Miller, a lot of people in Edinburgh actually booed King Charles. Yes, and that was literally the last video I posted. I posted the BBC News footage where they booed. I posted it as an individual video because I didn't want to put it in my main videos because then it would just get demonetized for copyright. But yes, you're right. They did boo, and the boos were audible. Now something else that happened at the walkabout the other day, and they're trying to, as usual, every single thing that they can use to paint Meghan in a bad light, they will. But there was a small exchange where the aide came over to try and take the flowers from Meghan, and Meghan said, these are a tribute for the Queen," and she actually said, "I will take the flowers myself. Thank you very much." And she even curtsied to the guy. She was very, very polite. I believe that is actually a KP staffer. So, I mean, she was still polite to this guy, even like semi curtsied. And people are trying to paint it as if, she was being rude. It's just like every single little thing they want to pick apart. And I think that they are very, um, very annoyed at the fact that over the last few days, first and foremost, people are really, really pushing back more than I've ever seen them in the last 3 years that I've been part of the squad against the bullying of Meghan. I've seen people really step up the last 3 days and just be like, what is going on? Why are they, coming after this woman? And it's, people of all ages have come out in her defense, but you've really seen, the love and outpouring from a young people. And, you had the young lady on CNN who they interviewed, and she said, I'm not really bothered, by all of this, and because of the monarchy's colonial past. And then you also had the young lady, the 14-year-old that gave her a hug. You also had the other young lady at the One Young World who, yelled at the Ranger who was, protesting outside, and she said, you're out here arguing about Meghan Markle, but she's inside successful. So, they can't erase the warmth and the love that Meghan exudes, and people feel it. And anytime you put her in a crowd of people, you're gonna get really beautiful images like this. The little kids reaching out to her, the young people hugging her. They can't erase this. Oh, I just realized there's like 1,200 people in the chat. Woof! Thumbs up, y'all. And thank you so much to the moderators. Some people are saying that they sent for the kids. It wouldn't surprise me. Um, Praying for them all, really praying for their safety. You can see that when they're out and about, Harry really doesn't trust anyone. Cynthia, hi Anne. That's what soulmates look like. May God of all mercies embrace them, indeed. Miranda, Meghan really loves her husband. There isn't any way if I were her that I would go back to that hellhole. Yeah. I 100% admit to being a very petty person. If you are not nice to me, I'm just like I'm a Scorpio, okay? I'm a petty Scorpio. I find it very hard to find forgiveness after a betrayal. Legs, that is the sketchy new PR guy. I would not work with him at all. Jason, can off anyone? So wait, what happened to Lee Thompson? Did that guy ever even start? What happened with him? Can somebody please explain? What's going on with that? Deb Bailey, I think that guy with the glasses is Williams' new PR guy. But that's not Lee Thompson, is it? Wait, let's go back. Is that Lee Thompson? Is that him? I wasn't sure if it was him because he looks a little bit skinnier here. So please explain. Is that Lee Thompson or is that another PR guy who they've hired? Oh, it is Lee Thompson. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for clarifying. I wasn't sure if it was him. Yeah, Lee Thompson, the guy who has not told the Kensington Palace bots to switch off. They're still going. They are trying to use the death of the Queen to their advantage. They think Meghan is not a royal. I mean, for her to be so gracious towards this guy like that, my gosh, Meghan is just she's just so graceful and so nice. It can never be me. It can never be me. I'm glad that there are nice people like Meghan in this world to be an example to us all. Oh, never me. Nope. 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 Black Bean, yes, I saw a YouTube short on the flower debacle. They had a lying narrative, and I was pleasantly surprised that the majority of the comments were defending her and calling out the lies. Yes, because I think people are starting to see it now. It's getting completely and utterly out of hand. And, they keep trying to paint this narrative of Meghan was a liar, that she was welcome, nobody was racist to her. You don't have to say the N word for us to know that you're being racist. And look at these headlines straight out of Compton. Meghan's seed will taint our royal family. The real problem with Meghan Markle, she just doesn't speak our language. Sorry, Harry, but your beautiful Bolter has failed my mum test. And then you've got that exchange from that girlfriend of the female MP talking about I wouldn't with a Negro. Ugly, not my thing. So please don't tell us that they weren't at least some people who had an issue with Meghan. And unfortunately, those some people were the loudest. Yes, lips and lashes. She's one strong woman. Oi. Okay. So moving on, Antigua and Barbuda, just moments after King Charles III was confirmed as king of Antigua and Barbuda, because obviously now he's also now king of all of the realms. The Caribbean country's prime minister has told ITV News that he plans to hold a referendum on becoming a republic within 3 years. I find it so annoying that all of these formalities take so damn long. He went on to say this is not an act of hostility or any difference between Antigua and Barbuda and the monarchy, but it is the final step to complete the circle of independence. The Caribbean country's PM plans to hold a referendum on becoming a republic within 3 years. Okay. Legs. Doesn't he Tom to look like the child of Napoleon Dynamite? With his brother, sorry, Napoleon Dynamite's brother mixed with Pee Wee Herman. Yes, that's exactly what he looks like. Miranda, I'm way too opinionated and have too much of a big mouth to be that polite. Megan is to say yes. That is me too, Miranda. I'm too opinionated, and I have too much of a big mouth to be that nice around people who are so mean to me. Um, but obviously, Megan's situation, she's got the whole world looking at her, and I think she takes her position as a role model very seriously. So I wouldn't expect anything less from her. But honey, never me. Um, okay, so Dan Woo Woo, this guy. So we all remember when Dan Woo Woo was criticizing Harry and Meghan for going to Remembrance Sunday. Was mind you, if Harry and Meghan had not had a professional photographer with them that day, there would have been a long lens photographer stalking them anyway. So they can't win. He goes Buckingham Palace for a so-called quiet reflection to lay his own tribute. Now, according to eyewitnesses who were there was one person on, well, actually, two or three people on Twitter who just happened to see him there, who said that he gave his phone to some American tourists and that he actually filmed himself putting the flowers um, one or two times. And then he did this weird kind of Mr. Burns holding his hands pose afterwards. And that the whole thing just looked very disingenuous and strange. And we know that Dan Wooten is nothing but a grifter. So you can't sit here and criticize Harry and Meghan for going with a photographer when you went and you were asking tourists, to take a video and pictures of you. But I believe that this guy, his time is coming. Miss P talks. I wonder if my island of birth will go ahead with doing the same thing as others and become a republic. Perhaps. Perhaps. Oh, apparently the corgis, the Queen's corgis, are going to Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew's teddy bears must be absolutely relieved because now the corgis can keep him busy. Tashmak, Meghan is a woman supporting her husband, but she's also grieving the loss of a family member. Also, yeah, that is true. Some nice like he looked around to see if anyone noticed him, right? You've seen the footage. Oh, okay. Down woo woo off the screen. Now, yesterday I pointed out the incident that happened with Sky News, where there was a Black Lives Matter protest going through Trafalgar Square, and Sarah Jane Mee, who was a Sky News reporter, said that those crowds were for the Queen. Now, Sky News made a clarification, not an apology, made a clarification and clarified exactly what those crowds were for. And then Sarah Jane today tweeted, "I made a mistake on air. I wrongly identified crowds in Trafalgar Square as some of the thousands heading to the palace, when at that moment it was people turning out for Chris Cabot. That was a black man who was shot by police. I'd like to personally apologize to those involved. We are covering the march and its significance later today." Well, um, I don't 100% blame Sarah Jane because she is just, she's reading off a prompter, she's reading off a script, she's listening to what her producers are saying. So I think, both her and the producers take responsibility for this. But I can't help but feel, if I'm honest, that they absolutely knew what those crowds were for and they wanted to see if they could pass it off as crowds for the Queen. I honestly feel like that. But so many people called it out that they just they had to apologize because so many people on social media were like, "What are you doing?" And obviously, those involved in the protest and the family were rightly offended and spoke out. But I think that if they could have gotten away with it, they would have just carried on as normal. Thank you so much in the chat for joining us. We're almost at 1,400. Benjamin, the British press can't take away the love shown by the public. Exactly. They really can't. Anna, I thought that Big Ben was going to stop working when the Queen passed away. I've never heard of that protocol. That's news to me. Okay, moving on. So there's this. The foreign heads of state and their spouses heading to London for the state funeral of the Queen have been asked to arrive in the UK on commercial flights and banned from using helicopters to get around. Now that is slightly misleading. I think if you read further into the headline, it's if it's really if you can avoid using helicopters and commercial flights and helicopters and private flights where possible. Now, for me personally, as a civilian, if I heard that the president of the United States or any of the big major powerhouses were on my flight, I'd get off immediately because to me as a civilian, that is a security risk. I don't want to be on the same flight as a high-ranking dignitary. There's a reason why people of a certain status, I do think should fly private because they are a target for terrorists or anyone else that may want to target them. And if you then have that person within close vicinity of civilians could also become collateral. And so I don't understand this whole thing of I don't know. I guess maybe they don't want to have people saying, oh, but they're all coming on private jets and whatnot, you know, but I don't think you want like high ranking dignitaries on jets. And if that's the case that they're so eco conscious, then I mean, why not have the first the first modern state funeral and just do everything by Zoom? And then Christina is it Gallardo? Christina Gallardo, who was tweeting this, she then goes on to say, according to the same document, King Charles III will host a reception for all of the overseas leaders at Buckingham Palace on the evening before the funeral service. Visiting heads of state will be able to attend the flying in state of the Queen's body and sign the condolence book at Lancaster House immediately afterwards, while Lancaster House foreign leaders will be able to deliver a tribute to the late Queen lasting up to 3 minutes, which will be recorded for the media. After the funeral service, foreign leaders will be escorted on foot to Dean's Yard, still within the grounds of the Abbey, to attend a reception hosted by Foreign Secretary, and apparently that they will be chauffeured around on by buses. They can't have their own states, like their own vehicles, armed vehicles. They're going to be chauffeured around in buses. And literally, the second I heard this, I was like, this is literally like the plot from London Has Fallen. You're going to have all of these high ranking dignitaries. If you ever watched that movie, it's basically like a bunch of world leaders from the G7 come together to attend the British Prime Minister's funeral in London. And then, like, there's like a plot to assassinate them all. And so it's like you're creating a situation where, you know, you could have people, you're obviously going to have people that might try and target these world leaders. It just seems strange to me that you're saying, you're not allowing them to come in their armored vehicles. You're saying, if you can't arrive in, private jets or fly around in helicopters, try not to. Like, I get what they're trying to do. It's all about optics, right? But you're also creating a situation where you basically kind of have lax security. So, um, yeah, all very strange. More so, I find the whole thing about the helicopter thing quite funny because you literally had William the other day riding around in his helicopter. But anyway, that is that. Um, uh, so some other things that were put out on social and in the news. You had this journalist who did this article about the Queen's untimely demise lies squarely at the feet of Jeremy Corbyn. They are losing their minds. Like, is she trying to say that the Queen died because of because of Jeremy Corbyn? Yesterday it was Meghan that killed the Queen. Today it's Jeremy Corbyn that killed the Queen. It didn't stick when they said it was Meghan, so they had to switch to Jeremy Corbyn. And she said, "Human Rights Act be damned. Time to reopen the tower and bring back the axe." They're literally saying that an MP should be sent to the tower and axed. I don't know why this lady has brought Jeremy Corbyn into this, but just yet another attack on a politician who, regardless of how you feel about his politics, I think honestly just wants the best for the people and is definitely not an establishment politician. And then over in Norwich, because of the royal period of mourning, you can't lock your bike on a cycle rack. And they put an advance warning notice saying that the cycle rack will be closed until the 21st of September. I don't understand that at all. The Queen died, so you can't lock your bike on a cycle rack. Somebody explain that to me, please. And there's also other events that have been stopped. The Edinburgh Fly Open Air because of the Queen's death, and also the Aqua Adrenaline race was also cancelled. I don't know why. Because, I mean, presumably people are going to get their money back if they paid for any of these things. But also the people who were meant to be working on these days, often for these big events, um, it's people who work for these agencies or events companies, right? And then they're called to the event to work on that day, and they usually get day rates. So everybody that would have gotten their day rate that day isn't going to get it now, or it's going to be moved to another day. Oi. And then as Sandy, who must be Scottish and Welsh based on the emojis in his Twitter handle name, said, please make it stop. It's been 3 days. It's ridiculous. How much warning can the nation take? How about some news? What's happening in Ukraine? Who is in Truss's new cabinet? What about the cost of living crisis? Has Trump been arrested yet? Please stop. Yes, please give us the news. Or do you know what? At least just have a balance. Please don't tell me that we're literally going to get this for all of the 17 days. Please. Please, please. It's day 3 and we're exhausted. Michael Miller, the President of the United States will never go anywhere without Air Force One. What is the safest air travel for someone of his ilk? None of the presidents ever travel without Air Force One. Yes, and doesn't the Air Force One, doesn't it also have fighter jets that fly like beside it in the air? Is that right? Crack me up. Makes sense to put them all in a bus, especially with Russia's ties to the UK. Well, as long as it's a properly armored bus, but also I don't know if that's safer because then you've got all of them in one bus. Whereas if if you're somebody who's trying to do damage and there's like multiple people in different cars, um, that's it's more difficult to target multiple people in different cars than if you've put them all in one bus. I personally don't know. I'm not an intelligence expert, but common sense would tell me don't put them all in one bus. World traveler, the US Secret Service wouldn't let the president go if that was the case. I would hope not. Susan who is Big Ben? You are joking, right? I'm gonna assume you're joking. But if you're not joking, Big Ben is a giant clock. He's not a person. Uh ah, no. Um, sorry, give me a sec. Story, why is no one talking about the first thing in the title? Oh, the protest. Don't worry, we'll get to that. Is that what you're talking about? We'll get to that. Don't worry. Just want to make sure I get for as many of comments as possible. There's quite a lot of you in the chat, so sorry if I miss. Um, Pamela, they are crazy. No serious head of state is going to fly commercial to suit their stupid narratives. What will one day of dignitaries in their own safety transport will do to the planet? Hypocrite. Yes. I mean, I could see why people were mad that all of the world leaders went for an environmental summit in their private jets. I could see why people were mad about that. You could have had that for Zoom, right? But for for a state event like this, um, I think it's somewhat acceptable. Okay. On to the next thing. What was I gonna? Yes, so there are reports of people who have been protesting or showing pushback towards our new king being arrested. So there was one gentleman called Simon Hill, who I might try to get on the show, who said, I was arrested in Oxford today after I voiced my opposition to the proclamation of Charles III. Can we be arrested simply for expressing an opinion in public? I was arrested under the police bill passed earlier this year. This was the controversial bill that Priti Patel was trying to usher in, and it does target protesters. One of the reasons why it was so controversial. This is an outrageous assault on democracy. Hashtag not my king. When the proclamation was read out, I called out who elected him. 2 or 3 people told me to shut up. I responded with an opinion, not an insult. Security guards grabbed me, took me off, and then arrested me. I'll write a fuller account when I'm a bit calmer. Hashtag not my king. Aha, I was released but told I might be contacted for an interview and possibly charged. I refused to be interviewed straight away without a lawyer present. And this is very important to remember. If you are going to be going out and if you just happen to be one of those people who decides to protest, do not be interviewed without a lawyer. And if possible, if you have your phone on you, make sure that you're also recording anything that's happening, because these police are meant to be protecting the public, but they work also for the establishment. And there was also another lady who had a sign. It said F imperialism, abolish the monarchy, and she was arrested in Edinburgh. And that's the lady there with the green hair. Arrested by 3 officers for having a sign. Oi. Wild. Absolutely wild. Marina, maybe foreign leaders should zoom in and the funeral should have been open to the public with a ticket. Yeah, have you seen the Tony Robbins live event? They had like 10,000 people or something like that on a um on like a live event Zoom. I mean, talking about modernizing the monarchy, right? So why does everybody need to fly in? And the amount of money that that's going to cost us. I can't wait to see what the bill is for all of this. Paul Charles, I think that once all of this is over, I doubt Meghan will be back in England for a long time. Well, we never know what it is that Harry and Meghan want to do exactly. Um, but yeah, I think you're right. Unless it's something to do with their charities, I don't see them coming back. Uh, Adrian, after social media bringing up colonies, stolen jewels, and slavery, I think William is sorry he spoke about Africa and their population. I don't know. I don't know if William has that much self awareness. Somebody going to bring that back up when he's king. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Like, we've got the receipts waiting. That's if we even make it to him being king. So we've got, I mean, Charles is what, 73? So, lower end of the estimate, 20 years, higher end of the estimate, 30 years. So for most of us in our lifetime, we will likely live to see William get crowned. But 20 to 30 years is a long time. A lot can happen between now and then. The world is changing very quickly. Oh, Sharon, yes, Air Force is always protected with fighter jets. Thank you for clarifying. Benjamin, these funeral plans are antiquated. People don't mourn for 10 days anymore, exactly. Attention span is not the same. Factor in 24/7 news and it's too much overkill. Listen, I was literally in Zambia when the Zambian president died. I gave that man 5 minutes and moved on. And that was my president, okay? I do not need to mourn you for what? Like, you're head of state, you've got a job to do. Thoughts and prayers to your family. But what am I mourning for? Like, I mean, you're head of state. You were there to do a job. Like, is that harsh? But I don't know. Like, I don't understand like this whole idea of somebody who is a leader who I'm not even connected to in any way. You know, it's like they're there to do a job. So thoughts and prayers to your family. But I I don't know. I don't get it. I just don't get it. Um, Hang on in there, Anne, the British citizens. There's 14 more days to go. Oh. Margaret Jones, the nuclear secrets always travel with the president. Is he supposed to travel on a commercial flight with those? Yeah. Doesn't he have like the nuclear football? Hi everyone, if you're just joining us. Veronica, oh my god, I saw cops holding machine guns outside Balmoral Castle protecting the Queen's coffin. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. They've got machine guns, tasers. Listen, don't any of you hardline Republicans, try anything silly, okay? They will pop you straight away. They won't hesitate. You have been warned. I do not encourage anyone to try anything funny over the next 17 days. Don't even think about it. Lynn, is Britain becoming anti-democratic? Well, it kind of feels like it. I had a slide. I mean, look at this. Somebody, Peter Packman tweeted, "We have a new head of state put there by accident of birth and a new prime minister elected by 81,000 people. But thank God we left the undemocratic EU." And, ultimately, the United Kingdom is a constitutional monarchy, and both monarchy and parliament are meant to work together to ensure, to kind of keep each other in check. But you look at this picture, and they're clearly just in bed with each other. There's no checks and balances here. And to all the royalists who go on and on and on about, oh, it's so good that we have a monarch because they keep the parliament and the politicians in check. You cannot look at the last decade in the United Kingdom and tell me that the monarchy is keeping parliament in check. That is ridiculous. And then when you say that to a royalist, they'll often come back to you and say, oh, well, it could be worse. How much worse would you like it to be? There's 2,000 food banks. Do you want 3,000 food banks? There's sewerage and polio in the water. Like, how much more worse do you want it to be? And this chart that I have is some of the money that went to PPE contracts that were given to Tory peers and their friends. So you have Randox testing and diagnostics, about 480 million. Ayanda Capital, 252 million on PPE. There's absolutely no way that all of that 252 million got used. A lot of that has gone to waste, but they still have the money. So we're facing a situation in the United Kingdom where our monarchy and parliament are very much in bed together, and to restart our democracy and bring it to a place where it's more fair, that is going to take a lot. It's literally going to take like a revolution. I don't see how else we get to a place of fairness again, because here you have the Tory leader, this is the Labour leader. Where do I have? Wait, where's the picture? It's like, let me find it. That's the Tory leader, and where did I put it now? Ah, yes, right here. That's the Labour leader, getting knighted by Charles. And you had the Labour Party tweeting out, "God save the King." Labour Party is traditionally the party of the working class, of unions, and there you have the leader who, in my humble opinion, is a Tory in Labour clothing. So that's how the United Kingdom is at the moment. Right. That's pretty much all I had. So that will be it. We'll call it a day. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, mods, for all of your hard work, and we'll get through all of your comments. And you can caption this. Caption Charles's photo of him snickering at his aide during his signing with the cameras rolling. And you mean to tell me that Meghan was the bully? Whew. NSP talks, and the new Prince of Wales liked the fact he will be getting a bit more popular because of his younger brother. Hmm? Oh, do you mean that's why they're trying to why they had Harry and Meghan out for the walk the other day? Rhonda, Meghan had no choice but to go back. The UK press would love to see her not return. That is a goal, to force them to divorce. Yeah, it's very sad. It's like there's nothing that Meghan can do. But I do really get a sense that the tide is turning. And it won't be too long before people start asking very serious questions. And this is why it's so powerful that Meghan named Jonathan Rothermere in her statement. Can't underestimate how important that was, because now people have a name to reference, and that name now has a face. Because up until now, even myself, I always knew that there was something very strange about the British press, but the only person I had a name and face to pin that on was Rupert Murdoch. But there are actually other press barons and other very powerful people within the press who are also responsible for what's been going on. Obviously, in Meghan's case, it's really the Daily Mail that has been the leader in the harassment, and the Daily Mail is obviously that's Rothermere's, but there are other people as well. And so this is why it's so important to name your bullies, name your abusers. And I do think that Rothermere is he's going to become a lot more famous. He's going to become as famous as the people that his papers write about. And that's something that he definitely doesn't want. He wants to be a shadow man. Cheryl, exactly Duchess of Success. I don't think William will be king because the world literally is sick of all of this royal crap. It's just a bunch of super rich people getting rich out of the poor. Yes. I don't. Yeah, I don't see. Do you know what? Maybe William. I actually do see it getting to William. Um, but I don't see it getting to George. Because even if we're gonna go through, referendums and people saying that they want independence and all of that, it's gonna take a while. I don't think it's not something that's gonna happen in a year or two. And you saw Antigua and Barbuda saying it's gonna be within 3 years, and that's just a referendum. Well, if the people of the country vote that they want to stay, well, they'll stay. So even if you have referendums, the referendum goes one way and they choose to keep monarchy, well, then that's going to be that for a whole other generation when maybe they want another referendum. Sister and Katie was hoping to get the adulation yesterday because of her new title, but it did not happen. I mean, it didn't happen in person. It didn't even happen on social media because everybody was saying, "Hang on a minute, excuse me, no, Diana is the only Princess of Wales that we acknowledge." Another interesting thing about the whole giving Kate Princess of Wales. Um, Now y'all correct me if I'm wrong. If Kate and William divorce, does she not then become Kate Princess of Wales? So she loses the HRH until she remarries. But if William remarries, doesn't his wife then become HRH Princess of Wales? I mean, you could almost argue that it's like they've given her that title, but somebody else could potentially get that title anyway. Just a theory. You tell me what you think. Mhm. Denise, Charles has a serious temper. He might stroke out. Well, I don't know about a stroke, but the fact that we are 3 days in and already in public, he cannot keep his cool over the tiniest thing. I mean, there was just the pens and the ink pot on the table. All he had to do was pick them up and move them 5 centimeters, just 5 centimeters, and sign the damn thing. And he was gritting his teeth and shooing in a room full of dignitaries with the cameras watching. And those clips of him um, throwing a tantrum, I saw one clip where it showed it had been viewed something like 10 million times. So now, as king, he is entering his kingship in the age of social media. Every single little thing is going to be under the microscope. He's not going to have his kingly reign um, in an era where the British tabloid press are trusted or where they have control over the narrative. He's going to be a king having his reign in an age of social media. Good luck. If you're joining us, we are just finishing up, so you can start from the beginning and watch the replay. Thank you. I don't know. To idolize these people is ridiculous when we as taxpayers do not get all that time to mourn our grandmothers. Well, during the pandemic, people were separated from their elderly. There were some people who died alone. Marianne, do you think that Harry and Meghan will be in Scotland tomorrow for that service? I don't know. Aren't there like 20 services between now and then? Some of them for the public, some of them for the family. I don't know when or where Harry and Meghan will decide to show up. I guess they'll have to look at security and how they feel. Joan Commonwealth, in my country, we don't mourn heads of state. We drink a lot of rum and eat a lot of food. What I'm talking about. So look. Cynthia, imagine the dead is being protected, but the living is not. Make it make sense. Yes, that is a very good point. Um, it's really just the height of elitism when an individual or dead person can be protected that much more than a living person, just because they're of a quote unquote lower class. Puzzle dot Charles will not last long. His card is getting printed. He is going to hell to visit his mama. Oh, harsh words there, puzzle dot. Um, Valerie, William is a poster for the Tory party, yes. I mean, they pretty much all are. They're not for the working class, are they? Gina, you're just happy that the football games got cancelled because you're able to park your car. Uh, Joan Hickey, who's going to attack a corpse? That's a very good question. Apparently, someone, because they've given her armed guards. Story X, I do think it should be balanced at most intense, not just news about her death 24/7 from now when people are struggling. Yes. Listen, there are some people who are genuinely mourning. All right. So give them their couple hours of coverage and then please get back to all of the other issues that we have going on. But we all know that the establishment press is going to use this to bury a lot of things that they want you to be distracted from. So this is to be expected. It's up to you to look for, reputable alternative news um, channels, blog sites that can give you a 360 view of other things that are going on outside of the mainstream media narrative. Rhonda, I want to know if Charles is going to get rid of the racist policy in place that his mother would not get rid of. The policy that suggests people of color can only work as domestics. Uh, guess we'll see. I guess we'll see. I mean, you literally had the BBC News presenter. I posted this as one of my previous video, saying that the cost of living crisis was no longer important. I mean, saying that with a straight face. You're going to freeze to death, but it doesn't matter anymore because Betty passed away. Chief Dilly, the UK press are going to turn on the royal family. Eventually, I think so. Eventually, I think so. It's just a matter of time. Charles caption, damn peasants. uh, all right. Who is going to get the last word of the day? Alma Andrews, and thank you always for the truth. I agree the tide is turning. I think so. And then, excuse my ignorance, what did Andrew do to his daughter? Oh, yeah, there was a video going round where Andrew and the sisters, sorry, Andrew and his daughter, the two sisters Beatrice and Eugenie, were looking at flowers, and Andrew kind of slid his hand down one of his daughter's backs, and his hand kind of like lingered on her backside, and people were kind of making a big, you know, thing of it. I mean, I personally didn't. I didn't think it was anything, but I can understand Andrew being Andrew, why a lot of people were reading into that and sharing it around. But I didn't personally read too much into it, and it's why I haven't shown the video here. But you're free to read into that how you want. Uh, Whitlin, hey Anne, how are the political fractions divided? Is it Tory, Labour, and Whigs? Please say. So there's Tory, there's Labour. So Tory is mostly conservative. Labour is it's more centre left. But the roots of Labour are working class, very socialist, and then you have like a little bit more to the left. You've got Liberal Democrats, and then you've got like the Greens, and a lot of their policies are also, I guess you could say, more liberal leaning, but they focus a lot on things like the environment. They're very heavily focused on that. And then you've also got other minor parties like UKIP, which are quite a nationalist party, and then you've got also um, BNP, which is like the far right. BNP actually got very popular at one point. They were making a comeback, but they've kind of slid away since. And then you've also got like other far right wing, like um, I think they're called the National Front or something. And then you've also got, I'm trying to think, a Women's Equality Party. They have like quite heavy emphasis on kind of like women-centric policies. So those are like the main ones that I can think of. Then you've got a lot of independents. So those are kind of like our main parties. And then you do also have like obviously like the SNP in Scotland. And then I think Wales and Northern Ireland, like they have their own kind of parties that are more focused on policies specific uh to their territories as well. Andrea, I was very disturbed about Charles' behavior in the signing, that gnashing of the teeth. Such normal behavior to him, clearly. I saw a documentary where they said that Charles liked freshly boiled eggs, and when he was coming home, sometimes he wouldn't always come on time, like or the time that he said he would come. So what they would do is they would boil eggs, and then if he hadn't come within like 3 minutes of him arriving, they would throw all the eggs away and then boil more eggs. Like that is literally how ridiculous his demands were, and that he has lashed out physically at staff before. Um, Lydia, Prince Harry is determined to have his wife alive. Yeah. Uh, ride or die. Meghan is. Meghan is a ride or die. Oh, Joan, Duchess, they play that angry clip of Prince Charles on every channel. I mean, when they played it, did they did they focus on the fact that he was acting in that manner, or did they just kind of play the clip but with other commentary over it? He has 73 years to prepare to be king. That is not a man sitting there. That is a man child who was never told no. Indeed. Diana said it. Charles can't become king. He would not be a good king. And can you imagine? That is how his kingship is starting. Like, wow. Cookies and cream on CNN. They just played the Star Spangled Banner at the changing of the guard at Buckingham Palace. They said it was ordered by the Queen. Oh wow. They've been playing or not playing the national anthem. They've been asking for moments of silence, sorry, at a couple of American sports events, and there's been booing. It happened at a Rams game, and it also happened at a UFC MMA fighting pay-per-view. I just can't see mixed martial arts fans being royalists. Like, not the crowd. Definitely not the crowd. Sharon H, I just read an article that Scotland is freezing the rent with no winter eviction. Fabulous. And if they're putting in policies like that, it's things like that that are going to ensure if they have a referendum, Scotland is gone. All right. Lady Bird, the CNN reporter called Kate and William the others. Oh yeah, he called them the other royals, and then the Daily Mail had a whole report. Listen, the American press can do whatever they want. They're not controlled by the royals. They're not part of the invisible contract. But yeah, I saw that. That was quite funny. He called Harry and Meghan by name, and then called Kate and William the other royals. Okay, Gwendolyn, I'm going to give you the last word of the day. Bye, Duchess. Bye to you as well. And bye to the squaddies. Enjoy the podcast. Everybody, please stay safe and prayers for Harry and Meghan. Yes, prayers for them. Indeed. Have a lovely night, everyone. I can't play the usual music out for us because I will get copyright stricken until I get the license back from Epidemic Sound, and I can't get it back until next week. So I'll play the new intro music instead, so you can dance yourselves out because I know you love to dance. See you tomorrow. Bye.
There you go.
Respond immediately and pick up. Because of course she must have been thinking, what's he going to say? She was always able to take her own action forward.
Make sure you send me that. Yeah.
Stamping ground, both of yours, both Starkey and also the